Let me just start off by saying, I hate my job. It isn't just the work though, it's the people working here. The beige and gray walls, the isolation of a cubicle, and the smell. God, I hate the smell of the gray 10 years old, never washed, dusty carpeting that covers all the floors. There's a huge coffee stain in the employees' break room that's probably been there since the beginning of time itself, judging by how crusty and dry it is. The carpet even creaks when we accidentally step on that stain. And I hate that too. As a 20-year-old dropout, this job is the only one I could get that pays me enough to afford rent. But just enough. I still have to take jobs on the side during the weekend to afford food and to live a little. You see, I'm not much of a physical job kind of guy, so manufacturing jobs or anything that requires to be the least bit healthy and fit is out of my reach. I could probably have a much better wage if I just worked out and got healthier, but I can't. I'm not really in a good spot, mentally speaking, and just waking up in the morning is enough of a stretch for me. There's no way I can go to the gym when I barely have any motivation for anything. It would just be a waste of my money. And Lord knows, I don't have enough of that going around to spend in gyms. In fact, if I had any spare change, I would put it aside to see a goddamn therapist, get some nifty pills to get out of that funk. Life being as it is though, well, I don't foresee it being a thing in the near future. Unless I magically find a stack of cash or find a job that pays high enough, even if you have no education. But, guy can dream, right? So, my job. Well, I bet you're all curious to know what it is and why I dislike it so much. I have one of the most data entry boring jobs someone can have. I work as a fortune cookie writer. That's right. I'm the dude who puts on stupid little sentences in the equally dumb piece of paper inside those bland, closer to paste than dessert fortune cookies. I mean, who the hell even eats those and think they're a treat? No one. That's who. And if you do, well, I'm sorry for your taste buds, buddy, but salt and sugar must be one hell of a spice for you if you think fortune cookies are tasty. Anyway, my job is basically as routine as you can imagine. Every morning I wake up, drink coffee, put on some clothes, and go to work where I sit in a cubicle most of the day and just type random sentences that are to be printed on papers and stuffed into fortune cookies. I've been working there for 6 years, going on 7, and I haven't even been promoted once. I do get a 17-cent wage increase every 8 months, so I'm barely above minimum wage, even after almost 7 years. It sucks. I mean, it really does suck, okay? A guy has to do things to keep his sanity, you know. So, that's what I did. Quite honestly, I'm surprised nobody's noticed yet. At first, it was mostly innocent. You see, I'd switch a word here and there in the planning. For example, I had to write, "Love will come to you in the most unexpected way." In that sentence, I'd simply change love for hate. It might sound stupid, but just imagine the face of whoever reads that cracks me up. Imagine you've brought your whole family to stuff their face on cheaply made Americanized version of Chinese food. And when it's time to read your fortune cookie, all you get is, "Hate will come to you in the most unexpected way." Well, made me laugh a lot. I mean, come on, that fortune is spot on. You get hated on by fortune cookies. Is that not the most unexpected way possible? For once, the cookie isn't vague as shit about a fortune. Now, I started doing that maybe a year into that job, maybe less. I don't know, and I can't really remember how I started. I remember overhearing someone in the employees' room talking about how they love that job, how easy it is and stuff, and, well, yeah, I mean, I get it. If you have no ambition and you're a spineless idiot, this job is perfect. But I'm depressed. I'm not super thrilled to the thought I might spend the rest of my life staring at this old PC screen and those beige walls. I want more. I just don't know what yet. When I overheard that guy talking about how much he likes his job, I don't know, I guess I just snapped. Silently inside myself like I always do. I went back to work and just started typing those modified sentences, and it felt incredible. Now at this point, I'm sure a lot of you are just like, just change your job, dude, if you hate it that much. I mean, yeah, okay, I hear you and I understand your point. But do you know how hard it is to go through interviews and interviews, or get a pity look because my hair is greasy because I haven't washed it in 10 days, because I just haven't had any motivation to do so? I'm battling against something that's currently stronger than me. I'm fighting against my own goddamn brain every morning, and I think I deserve some sort of credit for at least maintaining myself enough and keeping a job when all I want to do is eat nachos, lay in bed, and binge watch the next TV show success. I'm not lazy. I'm struggling. Besides, with my 40-hour work week at the cookie factory, I really don't have time to go to interviews. I didn't stop at changing a word or two, though. After about a year of doing that, I realized no one really gave a fuck or noticed what was written on the papers. No complaints whatsoever from what I heard, because who would complain about a fortune cookie, right? I decided to test a little theory. I started putting sentences of my own. Call it creative mood or whatever. I think that almost after 3 years of working for this company while being a depressed sack of shit, I was just holding on to whatever made me feel alive. I started writing very creative sentences such as, "We'll find your body covered in snails," or, an all-time favorite of mine, "Don't eat fish, you'll choke." Maybe I should have tried being funnier, but when everything around you is dark humor is the only thing that really works. Well, for me at least. So imagine my surprise when my supervisor came to me this morning, telling me that I was transferred to another department. I thought they checked my logs and figured out I was writing whatever, but no. Someone quit in the factory, and they needed someone pronto. I didn't even argue because I didn't care enough, which was my mistake. But I also warned him I was not strong. He looked at me puzzled when I said that and told me the only thing I needed to worry about was wearing gloves and stuffing the cookie with the fortune. It's been a week, and they still haven't found anyone to replace me, and I hate this chain work more than I hated writing the fortunes. I mean, why couldn't they get machines to do this? I'm in a line with 15 other people, stuffing fortunes non-stop. I shouldn't be here. And I tried to talk to my supervisor, telling him that I missed being in the computer room and that my arm was starting to hurt from the chain work. But he stared down at me and told me to get back to work. I was hurt. After 6, nearly 7 years of working for them, this was all the thanks I got? Get put in a job I hate even more, and left there to hurt not only mentally, but physically too? Every day now is just cookie stuffing and rolling until I can't feel my fingers anymore. I was really doing my best to hold myself together, you know? But they had to go and do that. They had to go and plant the last nail in the coffin of my sanity. This time, when I snap, it won't be internally at all. And I have a really nice plan to take those bastards down. 7 years. 7 years I've given them, with no thanks whatsoever for all the work I've poured in. I mean, sure, I've had my fun here and there at their expense, but it wasn't done in malice. I was just trying to hold on, just making sure I wasn't going nuts in this madhouse. But then they had to go and ruin that for me. I never really liked that job, but it kept me alive. Now, I don't even know if it's worth it. I know I should just quit, but if I'm going to quit, I'm going to make sure I hurt them as much as they hurt me. The best way to do that was to make sure complaints started coming in. And I didn't even care if it was obvious it was me. Fuck the fortune. Now people are getting pin needles, dead bugs, nail clippings, fur from my cat, whatever creative little treat I had in mind. I wonder how many wounded from nail clippings this company can handle before they have to shut down for inspection. I'm tired all the time, and the only place I could somewhat survive in shoved me in a position I can't handle. It's not that I trusted them not to, but as a senior employee here, I thought I was deserving of more respect. Not so much, apparently. Everybody just keeps letting me down, and I can't help myself anymore. I didn't plan on keeping this job anymore. As much as I feared being jobless at this point, I knew there was no salvaging my relationship with the fortune cookie business. And so I was going out with a bang. At least, I thought so, but see, the complaints didn't come in. After 2 weeks of stuffing cookies with pin needles and gross stuff, nobody asked questions. For all I knew, these cookies were stacked in storage somewhere to be transported throughout the month. It might take a while before someone actually gets their hands on one of my special cookies. So be it. I decided to up my treat game anyway. And so even if they figure out by the fourth poor sap biting into a pin needle, they'll have to pull the entire lot back. And so I wonder how people feel about eating rat poison in their cookies. It's a genius idea too, because I could just cram it into the still soft cookie, add the fortune, and no one would be the wiser. It took a couple of weeks, but I made the news. Well, my cookies made the news. Someone in Iowa bit into the cookie, hoping to pull a fortune, only to find a dehydrated earthworm. I remember I cracked a smile when I saw that on the news. The first batch was out, and I wondered how long it would take before something worse happened. It didn't take long. The next week, while I was still adding the special powder to my cookies, 2 people had to be rushed to the hospital because of pin needles. Security tightened at our company too. They employed 2 guards to check the production line, but I still managed to add poison to my cookies without anyone noticing. I also overheard a conversation between my shift manager and that douchebag of a supervisor who refused to give me my old job back. Apparently, they had to recall a whole lot of cookies, and the company lost a lot of money. Good. But I was waiting on the special to start. You see, I read somewhere that rat poison isn't strong enough to kill humans unless you're a small child who takes blood-thinning medicine and stuff like that. And the chances of that happening were slight. The chances that someone would end up shitting blood because of my cookies, though, less likely. Trust me when I say I put a lot of rat poison powder in those cookies. Enough to send a child or a senior to the ER, I think. When it started happening, I didn't know where to put myself. I saw on the news that a lady was suing the restaurant, and I knew it was only a matter of time before complaints came rushing in. With each new case on the news, it felt like my heart was beating again. It wasn't so much about hurting people than hurting the company that broke my spirit for 7 years. I started coming into work every morning with a smile, a nice little baggie of poison in the inside pocket of my vest. When a kid died, I thought the company would shut down. They were already talking about cutting down hours and staff because of new management things. But I knew what was happening. So even as they started cutting left and right to deal with the lawsuits, I knew the end of this company was nigh. They never figured out either. And I never felt better in my life, watching these worms squirm to keep the company alive. At some point, they even fired a few chain employees who worked with me, and yet, I was spared. Guess they were trying to find out who did it. That should teach them to invest in a camera system. All of ours were just for show after all. That helped me get away with things, but really? A food processing business with no way to check on employees. Cheap a day, cheap forever. I felt so good about what I was doing that I started applying to other businesses. By the time the fortune cookie manufacturer where I worked was ready to announce its shutdown, I had found another job. It It wasn't like my depression was cured, but I felt stronger than ever. I woke up in the morning, brushed my teeth, showered, and was ready to take on the world. Or, well, my new job, but you know what I mean, right? I never had so much energy in my life. Plus, I love the new company where I work. I mean, the bosses are shit, the employees are shit, but I get free food, and I'm paid about $3 more an hour than I had with the fortune cookie company. But maybe a small piece of advice, and take it as you will. Don't eat ramen made in the USA.